Hey guys, I thought I'd I'd throw something at you and ask you some help for this programming thing I'm working on for my car. Um, what this thing is it's a tailgate for a Civic, and there's a whole lot of electronics in the back, and I'll pretty much just go over with what they are. Each one of these little circuit boards is a 1 watt constant current um, controller, and there's 8 on the bottom, 8 on the top, 8 on the right, 8 on the other side there. And what's happening is there's some LEDs that's in each lens, and there's a total of 8 lenses. There's a top and bottom section. These are the LEDs. They're red, green, blue, and white. And then this is kind of the layout of what the tailgate will look like, but these are the old lenses. The new lenses that I have, they're all clear. So there'll be 4 clear sections on the top and then 4 clear sections on the bottom. And what this is hooked up to is this Adafruit TLC 5947. It's a 24 channel PWM controller, and it's cascaded. So what that allows you to do is this is the way that the chip is being accessed for variables. So you have pin 0 on the left, and then it goes to pin 11. It goes to pin 11, up to pin 12, and then over to pin 23 here. And then when you try to address pin 24 in the code, it goes down to the bottom right, and etc. etc. So what's actually happening on the layout and what I'm doing, it's everything's laid out really nice, and it has to be really nice looking for kind of what I'm doing. So the inner tails on the bottom will use this one, this one, this one, and this one, and the colored wires kind of help me keep my sanity to understand which light's actually coming on. So the inner tails use the inner constant current controllers, and then the outer tails use these ones. They're not soldered up yet, but they're pretty much these lights here on the back, but obviously they're going to be clear. So what I'm trying to do in the code is the current library for these chips does not support red, green, blue, and white. They only support RGB, which is pretty much what I found from a lot of sample pieces of code around the internet. I'm kind of want to pretty much do it on my own and hook these things up. But anyway, here's kind of here's the predicament. So one of these pins on the bottom left here, so this one here, pin 0, would be wired up to obviously like a red somewhere. But the way I'm trying to do this is all the pins that are on the bottom, I want those to go to all the bottom chips, and then all the pins on the top, I want them to go to the top chips. So there's 32 channels total for what I need to control, and there's 48 pins, and I guess it's basically how the numbering system should work, and I don't know if I should be grouping all the reds together, all the greens together, the blues together, and the whites together, and then somehow, like, within my code, assign, variables to each pin, so it really doesn't matter which pin everything's connected to on the back end, because obviously that will be in the kind of the setup function where, I might define pin 0 as, red bottom left or something, and come up with my own naming conventions and keep them sane. But, I guess I'm kind of getting outside of what I know for a lot of this code. I mean, I can certainly wire it all up and make it look like it's nice in the code, and lights flash and whatever, but I really want to get the pins on the bottom, so pins 0 through 11 and pins 24 through 36, and excuse the math, I probably didn't do that right, but I want those pins to be assigned on the bottom, and then I want the pins on the top to be connected up to the parts on the top, and the wiring needs to look nice, because when I pull the cover off of this thing, everybody's going to be like, what the hell's all this shit? But the other thing too is, within the wheel code, if anybody's ever familiar, basically the wheel code will, it's the color shifting code. If you have 3 variables, one assigned to red, one assigned to green, one assigned to blue, from the wheel code, what I've determined is, you increase red from 0 to maximum, and then as red reaches its maximum, you decrement it, and then you increment the green, and as red goes down to 0, then green will be up to the maximum, and then as green starts reducing, blue will come up to maximum, and then obviously when blue hits maximum, once it starts reducing, then it goes back to red. So in the sample code, that's what this does. But the way that they've laid this chip out, I mean, obviously they grouped it into sections of 3 for red, green, blue, and their sample code works really well. But when I run it on for this particular thing, what ends up happening is, because channel 4, or effectively channel 4 is white, but it's wired to the grid, you get a pink, which I don't really want that. But other than that, I guess I'm kind of looking for a little bit of feedback from you guys on how I should really lay the code out, because I mean, obviously if I assign all the colors how I want, all the bottom ones, it's going to be kind of hard to keep track of. So I guess I'm looking at kind of a best case scenario and kind of how I should do that. I can certainly wire it up and make it work, make some colors flash, but when it comes to mixing, it almost seems like I would want to do something that would, I'm not really sure how to do in C++, but assign it. Almost I'd want to assign different numbers to each pin, but I don't know if you can really do that, and I don't know if you'd want to, if there's a way to group, for instance, all the pins that are assigned to red into a red group, and then just turn the red group on, or turn the blue group on, or whatever. But I would like to have some, obviously the way that these are set up is each LED is individually controlled by, I think it's 12 or 14-bit precision. Basically, it's a decimal from 0 to 4096 that determines how bright that particular, or what the duty cycle of that pin currently is. And the microcontroller is a Neutrino, I think, something like that. It was off eBay, and it's I think it's 48 megahertz, and it works really well. But it only takes 3 pins to drive this thing. But there's some missing components inside this, but the general idea for this project is just do something really crazy, and I have never seen anybody do this before. But basically the idea is, from the front of the car, there will be left turn, right turn signal, headlights on, brake. Obviously, ground is going to be coming from somewhere, as well as 12 volts. And then the idea is, when I tap on the brakes, there would be a section of the code that would detect if a pin is low. So all the input pins, I'm going to pull them up high with 10k ohm resistors, and then once the circuit is basically activated, it will just be grounding it out, and then I'll have some if statement that says if this pin is low, then run this bunch of code. But the idea is basically, when I turn the headlights on, I can have a piece of code that modifies the brightness of all the lights to a reduced amount of brightness. When I turn left, the idea is I want I want the lights to go, flash, 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 and then when I turn left, flash, 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 and then there might be something that says like light show mode or something that I press a button and it goes all crazy. But I kind of want to just get the basics set up for now and then get all creative later. But I know this was a really long video and I was kind of rambling, but I'm guess I'm asking for you guys that have a lot more C++ knowledge on maybe variable names, or I know that, as I've said this before, is I want to use all these bottom pins here for the bottom lights, and I want to use all the top pins for the top lights. So what, it seems like if they're on the left, I want to use more left pins and not the right pins, and if they're on the right, I want to use the right pins and, obviously not the left pins, and then same for the bottom. So there's going to be like, a section where maybe this one, this one, this one, and this one aren't really used, but in the code, I mean, to lay it out and make sense of it all, I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. So let me know if you guys have questions, and I'll I guess go from there. But yeah, each LED is just kind of crazy. It has 8 wires coming off of it. These constant current controllers, you cannot bridge grounds or you cannot bridge positive. They just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's something within the data sheet, but they will just smoke the LED, and I don't really know. And if there's a better way of doing this, man, there's just, oh my god, there's so many damn wires, it's ridiculous. And the other thing is too, is since each one of these is 1 watt, I've not found another source online that has smaller versions of this. I was doing some research, and one of these guys said have custom PCBs built, and obviously the way that this is set up, I would totally have wanted all positive and negative input voltages shared among all this, so all I have to do is run 1 wire. But right now, all the each section is in groups of 4, so these 4 are grouped together. They're all soldered together. I need to put 12 volts into that, and then these ones are grouped together. But there's basically, you can tell up here, it's this one, this one, this one, and this one are all together, but the thing that's not connected up to this is the inputs. So the unregulated between 8 and like 15 volts is not wired into any of these yet. But each one of the LEDs was tested prior to soldering, and yeah, I don't know if I've missed anything, and I probably rambled a little bit, but this is pretty much what the front of it looks like. So clear tails, a clear top, and a clear bottom, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.